Welcome to BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I am, as always, Captain Nips. And today, in the BattleTech Backer Beta, we're going to go back to one of our old favorites. We're going to revisit and create a new episode in the annals of history of Punch Club. Today on Punch Club,
Welcome, Commander.
now newly patched after the June 22nd small update to the game, I'm going to go back to the last lance that I used where I had a bunch of hunchbacks with a bunch of small lasers. And I'm curious because one of the weapon systems I have not really used at all yet, I think it's one of the last few, I've more or less tested everything, is machine guns. So for those players that are familiar with BattleTech, the tabletop game, and MechWarrior properties and BattleTech properties in general, the machine gun is not exactly what you would call a mech grade weapon. Its original intention in tabletop is to be used against soft targets, sort of like flamers are. You know, infantry, you use machine guns, high rate of fire, very small caliber, spray damage, but against multi-ton walking tanks, that's not exactly the best option. So what some of the more modern games have tried to do with the machine gun, seeing as how combined arms hasn't really been a thing in a BattleTech or MechWarrior game probably ever, is to give the machine guns something else that makes them worthwhile against mech targets. So what I'm going to do today for Punch Club is I have my Hunchback 4P, which I previously had set up for small lasers. And today I have switched out all of the small lasers at half a ton each to machine guns at half a ton each. I've also added a ton of ammo so that, you know, we can actually fire our guns, and left everything else the same. So let's grab this guy. So we've got our lance of hunchbacks. Oh, also I need to change the amount I got to work with. Also, very nice change with the small update. It no longer scrubs your team when you change the budget. So, hey, I approve. I appreciate. So we're going to go with our 4 Hunchback 4Ps, armed with nothing but machine guns. We're going to punch the living daylights out of the enemy targets, and hopefully the machine guns will show us something useful, something good when you use them en masse. Now, again, this is absolutely not a canon build of a hunchback. Something along the lines of 13 machine guns is unheard of, I believe, in the history of canon BattleTech designs. If I'm recalling correctly, there is a mech called the Piranha that mounts, I think, 8, and that's a light mech that was specifically designed for anti-infantry work. This hunchback with all these machine guns is just, we're throwing up our hands, we're saying, all right, we need to test machine guns while we're throwing punches. On the other side, now that we got our team, and I'm just going to leave my pilots the way they are. I honestly don't know that it's going to matter that much. On the other side, heavy assault, awesome Orion Centurion Vindicator. That's pretty heavy. It's got a little bit of cost headroom on me. It's beating me out on cost. It's definitely beating me out on just raw tonnage, probably by about 25 plus 30 is 55, like by about 50 tons. So we're going to roll this out. We're going to throw some punches, elbows, knees, feet, heads if necessary, and let's just check out machine guns and see how they work.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
Now for today's Punch Club, I'm going to kind of throw caution to the wind because having played enough of this game now, and I've read the manual a couple of times, I've discovered something that is a little bit worrisome for what the eventual product might be in terms of tactics on the battlefield. So we've already established that evasion
Look at this place.
is remarkable.
Really, what's the word? Green.
Ah, Sumo, I've missed you. Well, not really, but it's fine. So we've already established pretty confidently that evasion is ridiculous. 50% chance to dodge every single shot thrown at you if you are evading is extremely powerful. Something that I did not realize up until recently is that there's more than one way to get evasion. You can have a pilot with evasion, certainly that is your shortest route to getting a giant damage mitigation bonus. The other way is to simply have your units sprinting. Now, if you're sprinting, clearly you're not doing anything else. But if all you care about is to get up into the face of the enemy, there's literally no downside, I think, to simply sprinting as much as you can every turn. And you notice that every time I sprint, my pilot, my mech, the mech that he or she is in, is getting evasion. So this means that even mechs like a hunchback or things that are even heavier can get evasion just through a sprint. Now, my entire goal here is to get up in the face of enemy mechs, so I want to be moving as fast as I can. That's a bonus. I want to move right up into their faces to throw punches and machine gun shots. If that means I'm sprinting every turn until I'm basically body checking the enemy team, there's literally no downside to that. And they're going to have to contend with the fact that I have a quartet of berserker on-rushing hunchbacks that probably aren't going to take much damage on the close.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay. So we're getting our dodges because we evaded, because we ran. Sprinted. Alright, let's continue to move the team up as fast as we can. The charging horde from the south. Hunchbacks with machine guns aplenty. While the enemy team dances around and tries to figure out what exactly they want to do. Now, the enemy team, with their Vindicator, their awesome, probably want to be standoffish, and that's fine. This is probably a good, assuming the AI does what it's supposed to do, a good example of, okay, what happens if your enemy brings a tactic that you're ill-prepared for when they close. This is a bad sprint. Wildfire. Wildfire. We need you to pick up the pace a little bit, please. You're falling behind the team. So that would be our Orion. I'm really not sure what that guy's doing. There is our awesome. There he is. Alright, he's moved down. Moved down just enough to get line of sight. Alright.
I'm here.
Even better than just sprinting, because this map has kind of some scattered forest going on, if we can literally just sprint from piece of terrain to piece of terrain, and assuming that they won't want to actually engage me in, say, melee combat, I'm not only going to get the evasion bonus, I'm going to get a cover bonus, so damage mitigation for the trees that I'm standing in. Buckshot here, even if she gets focus fired by the entire enemy team, is probably in a decent spot to just tank for my entire lance.
Full speed, no target.
Vindicator backing up, Centurion back there too. Enemy trying to play. Oh, so we're taking some hits. Alright, dodging a few. Didn't dodge one that mattered, but dodge a few of the missiles.
Yeah.
Continue to sprint up. I am just going to, at this point, plug the hole and refuse to let the enemy team get a good position for any melee attacks.
I'm receiving you.
Now, Wildfire. Wildfire, sweetie. Really
Roger,
hoped
Skipper. Kicking
you
it.
had not fallen so far behind. So there, Orion gets to go. What's Orion gonna do? Get up in there. Got some dodges off. Got a few. That was a lot of damage. But that's fine. That's fine. So what is this awesome gonna do? Throw a punch? No. Engage. Oh, precision strike. Tried to ignore the cover. But unfortunately for him, that did not work. Alright, now let's get to punching. So let's get Ozone.
Standing by.
I want Ozone to engage in melee here. And I want him to take this position behind.
Acknowledge, Commander.
Because this is going to be ugly. Throw the punch. Rear right torso. And
Ha! You like that?
machine guns. That seems good.
That hit something good.
So the machine guns in BattleTech have been tuned to be a little... I feel like they've been tuned to be a little bit more effective than their tabletop contemporaries. And I'll point this out right now. So buckshot, we're standing right here. So I'm just going to throw a punch on this Orion again. Machine guns have been developed in this game to be a critical weapon. So what does that mean? It means that they've given it a lot of little hits of damage to represent the spray of bullet fire, so that when you are firing on a target that has, one or two armor panels open, it has a higher chance that it starts plinking into open segments where there is no armor. Why is that important? Well, as you just saw from Ozone's shot, they're also very good at causing critical hits, which will destroy equipment. Now, in the campaign game, that's not very good in terms of salvage. If you're literally buzzsawing every piece of equipment in a mech, that means you're not coming home with that sweet autocannon 10 that the guy was carrying. But if you want to just shred a guy as fast as you can, even though there's only technically 15 damage here for machine gun, small laser right now is 20 in the game. So small laser would actually be a better choice for raw damage output. Machine gun being a crit weapon, if you're up against another mech that has a very large weapon loadout, for instance this Orion, where it has 6 different weapon systems, and you just want to strip it as fast as you can, machine guns in this implementation now have a chance to work that out, to actually damage the equipment on the enemy mech before you just kill it. I'll also point out that 1 ton of machine gun ammunition is worth 1,000 shots, and even if these are actually taking 5 shots apiece, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 65 rounds total. When I alpha all of them, 1,000 ammo, it's going to keep us a while. Probably enough to go through a whole mission. Now, buckshot, you're standing here. Got that Orion right in front of us. We've already put some stability damage on. Let's throw our punch. 98% to hit. And let's see what the machine guns will do from the front. Hit to the leg. All that sweet, sweet gunfire. Head hit, pilot injured. And we get our knockdown because 2 melee attacks is enough to cause stability damage for forcing a knockdown. So now here's the other thing about the machine guns, especially when you mass them like this. Because each machine gun is firing 5 different hits, essentially.
They're getting the angle on me.
Yeah, you're fine. Alright, maybe not that part, but the rest, you're fine. You're fine.
My internals are taking a beating.
Because you're firing 5 different individual hits, and you're spraying them, you're sandpapering the mech with them, there is a very good chance that handfuls, small handfuls, but handfuls of those hits start to land on the head armor. Now, why is this important? This is important
What's up, Commander?
because once you've landed enough head hits, because each head hit is causing pilot damage, you can actually kill a pilot from machine gun impacts on their windshield before you core out the head location. Let me repeat that. You can kill the pilot without breaking the armor on the head section if you land enough turn-over-turn head hits, which when you're firing 65 rounds of machine gun hits is a very likely thing to happen. Now, granted, the amount of damage a pilot can take is probably going to be based on its guts. You know, love that animation. You won't necessarily be able to rely on this, but there you go. Head hit, pilot injured. That's now 2 of my mechs in a row have caused a pilot hit. Wildfire. Can you get up on this guy? No. Can you get up on this guy? Yes. Can you get behind him? I believe that's behind him. I know I'm giving up my back to the mediums up the way, but I'd rather get... that looks more like a side. That's fine. Head hit, pilot injured. I feel like we're probably going to see this every turn I take an action with one of my mechs and let loose with that many bullets. We're just going to plink the head compartment at least once in there. And we're going to do some pretty
Getting banged up real good here.
unpleasant damage to the enemy mech warriors. Question is, what is this awesome doing? He is trying to move for precision. Whiff. Alright. Punch Club, at it again. So,
Commander.
let's look at this guy. We've kind of sandpapered the armor off the front. A little bit of superficial damage to the right side, arm and torso, head, and from behind we blew off the one side torso. I am willing to state at this moment in the game I have no fear of the enemy mechs, short of a lucky hit, actually posing any sort of significant damage to me. Because A, I'm already up into their position. Yeah, the Centurion and the Vindicator are up on the hill and they're getting shots, but whatever, I don't care. The 2 fatties are down here into Punch Club range, and Punch Club says, we punch you until you die, you like it, and because you're not part of Punch Club, you can't really retaliate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Ozone,
Something I can do.
and I'm just going to continue to wail on this Orion. I could start with Buckshot back there. She would probably just rear core this mech. I want to continue to see what happens as I pound on the front of this Orion with all of these machine guns and fist.
I'm there.
It's thinking real hard. We're doing our pre-punch dance. Right to the CT. We've now gotten the head hit, as expected, but we also just cored it out. So, hooray, we're on plan. Is this Centurion going to do anything worthwhile? It's going to land some damage, but nothing that isn't superficial, taking it on the armor. Okay. Those guys up the hill can just bide their time for now. Sumo. Let's get in on this guy. So now the Awesome has enough front armor. I feel like I stand a pretty good chance with enough attacks to simply just kill this pilot through repeated head hits. Also, love that animation. Look at, oh, see that? Head hit, pilot injured. Crit out 3 single heat sinks. Get a knockdown from the stability damage on the melee attacks. Doing some dirty work on this guy. Wheel around, try and get the rear side. Gets the rear side. Alright, we're gonna have to.
Armor blow through.
Yeah.
Internal damage.
You're fine.
Yes, Commander.
Alright, buckshot. Can you please? Actually, I have a hard time telling which side. I think this is rear. I think this is right side, and this is front. I'll just keep giving up my back to the enemy team. Why not?
I'll try.
In the interest of science and the rules of Punch Club, I want to see if I can
I'd rather use weapons, but
get that sweet, sweet pilot kill through the armor. Hope he didn't need. Wow. Hope he didn't need any of that equipment.
critical hits, Commander.
All right, wildfire.
I'm here.
Get down on this guy. That is the front somehow. All right, work him.
Targeting for physical attack.
All right, crunch to the armor. Head hit, max injury sustained, pilot killed. So, what did we accomplish here? Yes, it is entirely possible to kill the pilot before breaching the armor. Unfortunately, in this case, we chewed the crap out of that awesome. There's probably no equipment salvageable on it. But we definitely set out and accomplished our goal of killing a pilot through just repeated head hits. Now, on to the remainder of this team for Punch Club. Can't run, can't sprint, because I believe I'm unsteady, which is why this bar is blinking at me. It'd be nice if it threw an icon up here that actually said unsteady. So, what I'm going to do is simply move. I'm going to get up here, turn around. This kind of breaks some lines of sight. Although they get to move around, it's fine. We just want to get our front armor facing and close the gap so that we may begin with the punching. Also, we can brace to remove unsteady. I smell a punch coming on. I see you have engaged me in honorable combat, sir.
That all you got?
Ha ha ha! Your single small laser, please, sir. All right,
Yes,
so
Commander.
lots of unsteadiness going around here.
On my way.
Ooh, I might actually be within range to plunk this Vindicator with a bajillion machine gun hits. So it's obstructed and target moved. And I'm at short range. I must be at just the very cusp of its range brackets. So that's why these numbers suck. But here's the thing. We're throwing a bajillion machine gun bullets at the guy. Let's see what happens when you throw a bajillion machine gun bullets at very low percentages.
Copy.
We got a head hit. Like clockwork.
Yeah? What can I do you for?
I know this is a little bit of dirty pool for Punch Club. Punch Club says, if you're not doing the work with your fists and your legs, what are you doing? But, I mean, I think we've pretty well established that punchbacks are dangerous. So let's get some work with these machine guns. Can we get a second pilot hit? Absolutely can get a second pilot hit.
Standing
Wildfire
by.
close enough to get range for a third? Nope. But she can sprint, so we're going to sprint her over here. No, this spot. Face up. Go. Because these two guys on the remaining enemy force probably don't realize it quite yet, but they are SCR-EWED screwed. But they intend to at least fight honorably in the manner of our forebears.
Armor breach. Internal damage.
Precision strike with the offhand laser. Nice.
Lost stability.
Ooh.
I'm going down.
It's alright. We're going to get her back up.
Oh, I'm wounded, Commander.
You're fine, Buckshot. Get on up. Get on up.
Standing by.
Stand up, please. And engage in the deadly art of throwing
I go
elbows.
down, I get up.
You know what? We're going to inspire her. Because I like it when machine guns hit. Also, just as a slight aside, I know the models aren't quite working. You know, we've established the machine gun or the hunchback weapon modeling is a little weird, but I just want to point out machine gun, 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 machine gun. And I think there was a machine gun hiding in here somewhere. So even though they're not all displayed, boy, does that look pretty. That is mean looking, with all those little muzzles just sticking out, ready to chew you up. All right, let's get to the punching. Probably to the leg, if I were to guess. Oh, hit the CT. Follow up with DACA. All the DACA. And we get our head hit. So if things don't change substantially from the beta, it will be interesting. Oh, poor Ozone took one too many hits to the rear. It will be interesting to me to see what small weapon system, machine gun, flamer, small laser, ends up being most effective for campaign purposes. Sumo, can you punch this guy, please?
I'm on the move.
So, we've established that the small laser, masked small laser fire, is good for just raw damage. Machine guns looks like turning out to do
Standing by.
pretty sandpapery damage, but we're getting pilot hits left and
All
right.
right.
And flamers, as shown from the Firestarter video, completely capable of soft locking and hard locking enemy mechs. Head hit. So if we're in a campaign game and we're scrapping along, doing our best to try and maintain our material advantage, what's going to be the best way to do it? You want to try and kill mechs as efficiently as possible. Dear sir, have you forgotten the rules of Punch Club?
That hurt.
We want to kill mechs as efficiently as possible,
Right here.
and it's still looking like the combination of putting the enemy mechs into some sort of vulnerable state, either knockdown or shutdown, so you can get called shots. Ooh, just punch out the CT. That's what you get for firing these lasers. Cause a knockdown or cause a shutdown, and then head cap is probably still going to be the most efficient manner in which to claim salvage.
Okay, I'm on it.
Melee, because you don't have a lot of fine control over where melee hits land, even if you're to stack these other weapon systems that can cause shutdowns or knockdowns, you run the risk of kind of just bludgeoning enemy mechs to death.
I'm gonna make some trash.
Did not get a head hit that time.
Waiting for orders.
I guess it'll come down to really how much availability. So it'll come down to a couple of things. Availability of weapon systems in the game to customize your mechs. This is the other thing about the knockdown slash head cap strategy with missiles and then an autocannon is that you could do that with the stock builds of the mechs. Like Kintaro's and a Centurion, as one of my previous videos showed, like completely stock and yet completely capable of causing that you know, the situation you want.
If you say so.
At this point, I'm trying to just get this. I'm trying to pilot, kill the pilot here with machine guns.
Copy that. Firing out the threat.
Probably also just gonna core him out at some point. Yeah, so just core it out. For the other tactics, the flamer tactic, although the flamer tactic was with stock fire starters, which, okay, so there's a stock one plus Centurion, or was pointed out to me an urban mech, trio of fire starters and an urban mech. I think we will try that out in a future video to see if we can light lance head cap things much heavier than ours for salvage. But in this video, Punch Club, that's not really why we're here. We're here to kind of test the bounds of what is possible when putting too many of a punch weapon, machine guns, onto a mech will do. What have we proven here? We've proven that for heavier targets that have the armor to soak hundreds of bullets, that will usually result, or probably results in, the handfuls of head hits required to just kill a pilot from repeated blows to the face. For the lighter targets, it means our physical attack opening up a panel and then the machine guns kind of just shredding that open panel to pieces, destroying every piece of salvageable equipment inside of it. So in terms of like campaign salvage thinking, massed machine guns might not be the best choice. Now, if you don't care for salvage and all you care about is those sweet, sweet head hits, this certainly seems like this would work. After action report. Nine rounds. We basically rushed straight ahead. Again, sprinting forward with evasion. 26 minutes. Had one unfortunate mishap. Gave up Ozone's back a little too much. But the rest of my team, pretty much fine. I mean, also, depending on how the mech lab works for the campaign game, there's a bunch of heat sinks in this build that don't need to be there. This could be a really, really stupid build if it were to be optimized. Enemy forces kind of chewed them out. It's not really telling me. So here's the awesome. It's still got the structure. So this mech, although, you know, we broke two of the PPCs just right out. One of the PPCs is damaged. So we definitely shredded some equipment here. But we clearly killed the pilot. So here's the armor. You know, 15 internal structures still there, 13 armor still on it, but dead pilot, dead mech. So that certainly works. And the rest of these guys we just kind of plowed. Lots of equipment damage. So there you go. If you're looking to cause critical hits, massed machine gun fire certainly capable of doing that for you. And that'll be it for today's BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I am still Captain Nips. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.